Hey, checking in with the first 11 chapters of the final book in the First Law trilogy that started off with the Blade itself, continued on with Before They Are Hanged, and is now concluding with The Last Argument of Kings. Um, I've been really enjoying this series, a blissful actual trilogy of books, which is not a gigantic 17 volume set. There is apparently another 3-book trilogy after this, but here's hoping that they hopefully can stand on their own as well as just discrete little sets. I really, really like this. It really feels like we're not getting a lot of fantasy series just have a tendency to bloviate and just go on and on and on, and could have really had major hunks of it chopped out. This so far has been a series that has felt like, all killer, no filler, lots of killing. Um, so I will just assume that you know about the main characters in this series. It's gone. I think it was first Blade itself was 2006. Uh, the Before They Are Hanged is 2007, and this is The Last Argument of Kings is 2008. And we have sort of 3 main storylines, maybe 4, though one of them's kind of goes together. Of Logan Ninefingers, we've got the Dog Man, his compatriot Logan Ninefingers and his band, uh, which ends up getting led by after the death of three trees in the last book, is now led by Dogmen. Um, get are separated at the very instance at the very start of the first book in the series, and then are now going to get reunited within these 12 in new this book here. So we get Logan Ninefingers, we get Dogman, we get Giselle, we get Sandan Gluckdar, the Inquisitor, um, and we haven't. It seems like West is not so much in this one. Colum West, who is a lowborn but has worked his way up in the Union forces, um, and is now deep in the muck in the north, fighting Bethod, who is the has unified the Northmen, as the sirens go on, has unified the Northmen in a ruthless way with his a witch by his side. And indeed, we are reminded in this book that Logan was working for this guy. Was like Logan, who has been kind of off on this, what's turned out to be kind of a fantasy, the what you think is going to be the main fantasy adventure of this thing, where they're going to find the magic weapon to take down everyone, but it turns out, oh no, that was all a lie, and there's just rocks here. So we're going to go back, and he's decided to come up north, where he discovers his buds are actually still alive. But what we get with that is Logan. We get kind of reminded that Logan is a fucker. He has been a complete bastard. He has worked for Bethod, basically killing and butchering people. And indeed, when he meets up with the Dogmen, who's kind of gathered together a group of disaffected Northmen, there's a lot of people there that hate his guts because he worked for Bethod and, killed a lot of family members or a lot of scores to settle. There's one guy called Shivers who it's like, he apparently Logan promised, kind of, treaty, kind of a fealty, peace, and then went ahead and killed his brother, chopped him limb from limb. So he was, it's interesting because I do think of George R. R. Martin, and it's not put as much to hasn't been put as much to a fine point, but Logan has done lots and lots of nasty shit in his life. And indeed, when they gets back together with the dudes, it's like, no, I can't be the leader. You know, there's a good hunk of people here who'd just rather see me dead. You better continue to be the leader, Dogman. You've actually got that knack of actually letting people like you. His way has been basically, basically be the most scariest fucking bastard, be willing to do the nastiest kind of shit and beat everyone down to become the head. And it's like, no, I'm out with that game anymore. So I'll give you advice, but I'm not going to continue on. And indeed, as we go through this section, there's shit to happen because they've been sent by the Union guys up against Bethod, who has basically kind of cut off this whole mountain area pass. And like there's no way to get through, but they're supposed to try and find a way through. Now they come upon this bizarre looking um, a hillman who has basically been the only one who's actually been able to kind of stay independent and kind of raiding and just being ahead of things, who really hates Bethod as well. And he's got a plan. And his plan is Bethod really hates us. And if he finds out that we're all together trying to go around his flank, we might actually get him so pissed off that he'd actually come down and go for us. But I know where there is a fortress where we can hold out. So he chases us to the fortress. We get the Union to come up behind, and bang, we get them. We squash them between us. You know, drawn away from his fortress in Bethod's fortress in the hills. So that's the plan. And it looks like that's what they're going to do, but they have to actually check with West, Column West, with the Union guys, Furious, as they call him, because he got furious and killed the Crown Prince for trying to rape a girl. And it's like, okay, they're going to try that. And now, other things that are going on at the same time. Sandan Glokdar is working night and day and night to get the votes to get the votes for his arch elector to determine who is going to be the next king. That the king that they have is in super failing health, and both his sons are now dead. The crown prince was killed by Furious. They don't know that. They think he was just killed in battle, but he was killed by Furious West. And the other one, who was actually the much more sensible one, that they were all kind of relieved, like, oh, it was going to go to the second son. That son was assassinated by who knows who. They blamed it on the Gurkish, the southern super powerful empire, probably far more of a threat than Bethod and his kind of lurching thing of barbarians. This is the two fronts that the Union now has open. It's like they're really screwed. So he's trying night and day to do that. But everyone else is also trying to do this. We kind of end off this section with him getting almost he meets up with one cleric at a pig thing, and it's like, yes, maybe we'll just feed you to the pigs. And Glokdor basically rolls his eyes, and it's like, it's so obvious. At which point, bolts, garroting, and the clerk gets his throat cut, and they feed him to the pigs. It's like, and he's like, yep, this is my life. This is like, one choice after another, and I have somehow come to the point of going from being kind of a dashing, arrogant swordsman fighting the Gurkish to now a completely crippled, mangled guy who was tortured by the Gurkish, then released and has become an inquisitor, and now tortures other people for a living, and does all sorts of dirty, nasty deeds. But this is what he's actually kind of good at. He's very intelligent. He is very kind of coolly thing, and he's, god damn it, he's sort of one of the heroes of this thing. And I mean, most of these characters do really nasty things, but you're on their side because you're seeing things from their point of view, and it's sort of, I don't know if it's reasonable, but it's like it's a nasty, hard-bitten world, and they're trying to do as best they can in it. And Sandan Glockdar is trying to do it as best as he can, and I mean he tortures people. I don't know if he's actually torturing them for information as well. He's basically torturing them to break them, or he's threatening them. We opened the book with him threatening a guy. After it's like, okay, I try and bribe him, that didn't work. Well, we've got your daughters. It'd be a shame if anything happened to your daughters, kind of thing. And it's like, wow, this is one of the heroes. It's funny because we open with Dogman, and it's like, yep, he kind of comes up pretending to be somebody else, and they kill a couple of hapless guards because that's what's got to get done so that they can take a town fairly bloodlessly. Even though at the kind of we conclude that scene with the mother going, "Where's my son? Where's my son?" And it's like, that's the guy that he killed at the beginning of the scene, which he managed to do it without butchering everybody, but he still had to butcher. He still had to kill somebody, and it was that guy, that the couple of guys guarding a dock. Pretty sad. We have Giselle, Gazelle, the dashing Union guy who went off with Logan Nine Fingers and Bayard to the first of the Magi to do this kind of magic quest that came with nothing. He's come back, and he's come back to Ardy, Wes' sister, Wes' very damaged sister, who had been, you basically get the sense that she'd been, beaten and just and ground down by her father. Her brother has a horrible, vicious temper and did actually kind of beat her when he lost his temper with her. Though I guess he had great regret about that, but he just completely lost his temper. And I mean, it's one of those things of abuse where it's like, okay, are we going to excuse somebody for losing their temper? It's like no, you don't get excused from your responsibility for your actions just because you lose your temper. It's interesting because we have West who has that, and we also have Logan Nine Fingers, who is a genuine berserker who basically blacks out and does horrible shit. I mean, pathologically murders people who are like friends, but has a blackout rage, which is interesting things to have in a novel. We've got a couple, when you get repetitions of that, it's like, what does that mean? Then you have someone like Sandan Glockdar, who's actually quite in control of himself at all times, even though he has a twitching, spasming body which he can't control. His mind is all in his control, which maybe makes why he's sort of a hero, more of a hero than the other guys, which is bizarre. But she's really messed up. And I mean, when she and Giselle meet, she becomes the aggressor. It's just like, just fuck me. And it's just like, there's a savage thing. It's like, you can't love me. You should just fuck me and leave me because no one would ever give a shit about me. And Giselle's like, no, I care about you. And he's really is a dope. He is really a dope. He's not the smartest guy, but I don't know. He also, he's almost more of a human character than some of the other guys, and the thing more relatable just because he's sort of hapless, and arrogant and selfish, but in some ways more human that way because he is, especially after he has been humbled by his experiences throughout this thing. And Glockner basically says, look, you're either going to, my favorite option, which is you're going to leave her alone because she's been put in my charge from West. It's like you're either going to put her you're going to leave her, just walk away and leave her alone, or 2, you're going to marry her, or 3, and it's like, and Giselle's like, well, what the fuck? What's 3? You arrogant! How dare you? It's like 3 would be really nasty torture and probably tossed into a river with an anchor tied to your thing. It's like, well, if you must know, I am going to marry her. But there seems to be a thing of like, oh God, you're going to be shunned. There's going to be a lot of social pressure brought to bear. And it's like, oh, you kind of wonder, will Giselle actually be able to kind of withstand that? Much less, West probably will just kill him. So yeah, I've jumped around a lot in all these stories because we actually end with not 3 trees, with Dogman and Logan Nine Fingers and all the rest there. But yeah, it's good. It's a good series because it opens with like the heroes all doing kind of pretty reprehensible things, especially Dogman and Sandan Lockdar, and you sort of get reminded of exactly just how horrible person Logan Nine Fingers is, which is kind of easier to think of divorced from when he's been off on a kind of adventure where he's been divorced from the people, basically divorced from his past, from what he was before. And that's a part of the thing is he's basically decided, I can't run away from who I was before. I have to face it. And I mean, there's Shivers and there's other people there who, on his side who would probably like to kill him, would really like to kill him, have a vengeance thing. And, what's going to happen there? They're going to fight together, but, in the middle of a battle, is other stuff going to erupt out? Or, if they get into a high stress situation, that's, then all that bubbling resentment under the way could get him. And we're going to have the whole stuff with Pharaoh and Bayard, the first mage, who is actually helped Giselle with a major uprising of like 40,000 people against the Union, have taken their chance to revolt. Peasants have taken their chance to revolt, but he's come out and suddenly the leader is saying, no, we accept all these shitty terms and we surrender and we're all going to go back. And the guy who's like the second command is just like, what the fuck? You didn't want this. And you very much get the sense that they've probably killed the actual real general. And this guy is like a shapeshifter who is selling them off. And indeed, the second in command is immediately arrested and dragged to the torture pits to be, taken apart, tortured, and probably executed horribly. The heroes again. So yeah, that's been taken care of, and yet again, Giselle, as sort of an embodiment of kind of entitled dudeness, is going to be given all the credit for having talked this down. Bayard saying, like, if anyone asks, you say that you put it to them that king and country and all that stuff, and they of course agreed with you because they were swayed by your great charisma. And it's like, if anyone should ask, he says in a threatening way. It's like, oh God. And Bayard is like, actually is really good as this the first of the Magi, who's just like, he is a fucker. He is great. He's powerful. But he's not like, Gandalf, jovial wizard. He will fuck you over if it is if it's necessary. He will do horribly nasty stuff. He has done horribly nasty stuff that's possibly caused a lot of this shit in the first place. So yeah, I'm obviously really enjoying this series, really enjoying talking about this series to myself. So that is The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie, chapters 1 to 11. I will now stop and go inside because I've been yakking for a good while here. More videos later.